Hi guys, this is Atco. I want to talk to you guys today. We're getting close to winter. I live in the northeast of the country, and we're getting pretty good where we're going to get snow, and anytime having any kind of storms or anything, we could lose power. And I always have a couple gas generators in the house in case if I lose power I can keep warm and make some food or anything like that. Now, I've been having these generators since I've moved to this place we live now. It's I live about 4 acres, and I'm kind of out in the country. And what I've always had trouble with, both the lawnmower and the generators, and that if they don't get used a lot, the gas goes bad and they start anywhere from just starting to surge a little bit or not working at all. And the reason this happens is because of the ethanol that's used in gas today. 10 to 15%, based on your state, is ethanol is in with the gasoline. And they use corn to make gasoline, but it burns. The problem is with ethanol, it doesn't really mix very well with regular gasoline. After a month or so, it stops mixed, and the ethanol starts moving down into the bottom of the tank and kind of puts into like a glue inside of it. You generally don't have too much trouble with your car, because as long as you can keep this thing getting mixed, at least with every 2 to 3 weeks, drive that car and get the gasoline mixed inside, and it'll keep that ethanol starting to level out of the tank. But if you don't use it that often and gets into that, like the glue type stuff, and then that goes into the carburetor. So once it gets into the carburetor, you'll have all kind of problems where it could be just a surge, or you'll have to keep the choke on in order to keep it running, or it may not even run after a while. They have these different additives that you can add into your gasoline, and it helps. It will help the ethanol from settling in the tank, but only for so much time. It will eventually do the same thing. I've been using this stuff called seafoam, and it does help. What I do with seafoam, I mix that with anytime I use gasoline other than my car. Even when I'm using it for my lawnmower, it's still worth the cost to have that and mix it in there. And I always have that in there, and it has helped. I generally, well, if I still get a little surge after a while, I start putting more of this seafoam into the tank, and that usually does clean it up. And then this is just during the summer when I'm using 4 acres of cutting grass. And what I generally do is at the end of the year, I try to burn all that gasoline out. So the best I can, I've got most of that stuff out, and that's why I don't have too much trouble using my tractor. The problem is, though, I also have two generators, two Honda generators. One's 1,000 and one's a 2,000. I generally use that just for emergencies when we lose power. And even with that, I should use that thing once a month to keep it mixed, keep it running. I've been trying to do that for 20 years and I keep forgetting about it. I probably get to it running 2 to 3 times a year. And usually within every 2 years it starts getting clogged and it starts to surge mainly, and I'm running the thing on joke, and if I don't do something with it, the next time I need to use it, it may not even start. This stuff helps with using the tractor, but since I might go 6 months before using the gas and it's still sitting in the car, and it can go 4 to 6 months with that generator and hasn't been used, and the gas mixed with the ethanol and even the C-fuel, it still starts to level off, and then I have a lot of trouble with at least with it surging, or sometimes it won't even start. So what I've always done, about every 3 years, I land up to take the thing apart and get into the generator. Then I get into the carburetors. I've been lucky, I've never had to tear the whole carburetor apart, but I've taken it enough to get to the 2 jets that are in the carburetor, clean them out with you know, some really good cleaning that's made for cleaning carburetors, put it back together, and then it runs good for another year or two. And well, I was talking to my neighbor who was coming by last year, and walked by, and when I was cleaning the generators, and he asked, "What are you up to?" And I told him, and he said, "Oh, no, what do you use?" And I told him this stuff. He said, "Oh, that's no good. That, yeah, it's a little bit, but there's nothing you can really buy that's going to keep that ethanol not causing a problem. You need just regular gasoline. If you can just use regular gasoline, you won't have any problem." Well, the problem is nobody sells it. At least in my state, nobody sells it. He said, "Oh, no, what I do is," and I'll show you what he showed me. He still buys this gasoline in a can, a gallon, has no ethanol in it. And then you can run anything you're running, you won't have any problem with getting a surge and all that stuff from ethanol. I said, "Well, where do you get that stuff?" He said, I can just buy that right in Home Depot." Wow, how much is it? He says, "It's about 25 bucks for a gallon. You wouldn't want to use that stuff for your car, and you wouldn't want to use that for your tractor because it would cost you too much. But the way, especially the way I'm using it, yeah, you'd probably use that maybe a gallon, get you through the whole year." And the nice thing about this stuff is supposed to be good for 5 years before you start having any trouble with it. Well, let me do something by that. So the last spring, I was having a little bit of trouble with both of them again. Not bad, but I always try to do real quick, and I pull it apart, pull the jets and clean them up. But one of the generators was empty, and it was a 1,000 generator, and the 2,000 was still almost full, because I guess probably I used that during the somewhere in the winter. So I cleaned everything up, and I put this stuff in the 1000 that was empty. Now let's see what happens. I put that thing on, and then I went probably 4 or 5 months without using either one of them. I pulled out this 1000. Now I took a couple pulls to start, because I guess even the gasoline must have evaporated some out of the generator. But a couple pulls, it started right up, ran great, and had the choke off and was running good. Oh man, that worked good. Started the 2001. Took about 10 pulls to start it. When I did, it kept surging. If I would take the choke anywhere more than halfway, it would start to choke or even try to stop. Obviously it was getting clogged in the carburetor. And I think this stuff, since that's the stuff I had on the 1000, I had no problem. So what I did again, I took the 2000 out again, and I pulled out the 2 jets and cleaned the jets and put it all back together. And this is all I'm going to use from now on for the generators. Maybe it's a little expensive, 25 bucks for a gallon, but especially for a generator, if you're not using it that much. And the fact that this will sit there for, says the can says it can work for 5 years. So as opposed to where the old stuff with ethanol, they tell you that don't have gas in a gas tank for that has more than 3 months in it. Okay, so we'll see what happens. I just thought I'd show you this, let you know, in case you didn't know, you can buy this ethanol-free, and you can get it just like a Home Depot, about 25 bucks for a gallon. We'll see what happens. Make it through this whole winter. I'm kind of hoping I don't have to lose power, but where I live, it does happen quite often. I'm the last guy on the line when they still have anything. I have to shut everything down. Always seems to be me anyways. Just thought I'd pass this along the way for you guys. Maybe it's something you could use. So that's it for now. This is Atco, signing off.